Hey guys, the Black Critic Guy, and I don't usually make videos like these because I'm not too fond of episode reviews. I tried them before, they didn't pan out well, people didn't really watch them, and I didn't have fun making them. And I still to this day don't really get the point of episode reviews. I'm sure there are things to dissect and things to point out. I'm sure there are some people that thoroughly enjoy it, but it's just not for me. But whenever I do make a video like this, it's to either express a thought or to share with you guys my shock or amazement or some other sort of feeling that I just had to convey. And that is no exception with Game of Thrones Season 7, Episode 6, Beyond the Wall. Because, and it's actually not even because of this episode, it's actually the entire 7th season. It's just that Episode 6 was the final straw for me to where I was just like, okay, I've had enough, I need to just air out some grievances that I have so far with the state of Game of Thrones as a series. Now before I get into this sort of tirade and rant, I just want to preface this by saying that I fucking love Game of Thrones. It still is my favorite TV show airing currently, and I loved all the seasons. I really enjoyed Season 7 so far, and I really enjoyed this episode. It's a solid episode. And there were some really great dialogue scenes, really great moments between characters. One of my favorites was between the Hound and Tormund, where they were talking about Brienne of Tarth. Because as you know, Tormund is really enamored with Brienne of Tarth. And the Hound kind of holds a grudge against her because she almost killed him. So that little exchange was priceless, and I'm happy that they addressed that. There was also a really good moment between Jon Snow and Jorah. It was this moment where he was basically telling him that he had Longclaw, the family sword, and he kind of offered it to Jorah, saying, "This is your family sword, you know, you should be the one holding this, not me." And Jorah's like, "Yeah, the sword has been part of our family, but I betrayed my family, I broke my father's heart, I pretty much gave up all rights to even carry the sword. It's your sword now, Jon. You keep it, and you pass it on to your children." I thought it was a really nice moment, you know. It's Jon addressing the fact that even though he did get the sword from Jorah's father, it's still technically a Mormont sword. It should go to a Mormont. So he's paying respect to not only the Mormont family, but to Jorah, the father of Jorah. It's really hard to say his name is like Jor, I believe. So it was really nice to see him kind of pay homage or pay respects to the Mormont family, but also it was really nice to see Jorah admit that he made a mistake and he's not worthy of the sword. Jon's more worthy of the sword. That emotional exchange between Daenerys and Jon was quite touching. It was a nice, humanizing moment for both of them, and it was handled so well. I'm very convinced by this romance, and they did build it up very nicely throughout this season. It's not like just out of nowhere they love each other. They first respected each other, the fact that they both will not yield to one another. They see what they're fighting for, they got an understanding of each other, and now they're becoming more emotionally connected. So there is build-up. It's not just all of a sudden they're in love. There's a build-up, and I think it's a nice build-up, and if they do end up, no, not if they do, when they end up, I'll be very happy to. Although, and this is major spoilers for those who don't want, like, not for the series, or it is for the series, not for the episode, but for the series. I have this running theory, I could be wrong, but this is my running theory, that Daenerys is going to die. And she'll die in the arms or by the hands of Jon Snow. Because everyone knows about the theory of Azor Ahai, and the fact that Azor Ahai needs to pull a sword from the one that he loves and it just turns into a blaze of fire. I mean, I don't know if they're actually going to follow that in the series, because they really haven't followed much of the Azor Ahai theory like they did in the books, and a lot of things, they don't follow a lot of things from the books. But I have a sneaking suspicion that Daenerys is going to die. And there's a lot of, I feel like there's a lot of foreshadowing in the series as well. I mean, Tyrion keeps talking about, worrying about Daenerys dying, and even he asked about having a successor. I feel like the show is heavily hinting that Daenerys will die too. Now, I could be wrong, I could be right, we don't know yet until the series finally wraps up next year. That's my running theory. So that little moment between Jon and Daenerys, I loved it. Although I wish she kind of addressed the scars that he had on his chest, because they were always prodding on that. Daenerys just never let that escape her mind. She should have asked him at this moment, hey, you told me that that whole thing about you being stabbed in the heart was bullshit and it didn't mean anything. What are these scars? They didn't address it. But I guess there were more pressing issues at hand. The whole scene where they snag one of the whites and then a whole legion of whites come down upon them and they're surrounded on all sides and they're only surviving by staying on this piece of land surrounded by water, or frozen water, I guess. Because they try to get across and then the whites fell through the ice. They're like, okay, shit, we can't get through the ice, guys. We're gonna have to do this whole standoff until the ice dries up or freezes over, not dry up. So that was really tense. Like, I'm not even lying. It was really tense whether or not they were going to survive this whole scenario. What else in the episode really stood out to me? Oh, the whole Sansa versus Arya thing. It's tense, but I have a feeling it's going to end where Arya was playing the double con. So it's gonna be like it seems like she's threatening Sansa and all that stuff, and oh, I hate Sansa. But at the end, she's gonna kill Littlefinger and reveal to Sansa that I would never kill you. You're my sister. Why would I ever do something like that? And what the fuck is Bran? Like, Bran could just end this whole thing by revealing the fact that freaking Littlefinger is manipulating things behind the scenes. He wasn't in this episode at all. I don't understand. What, is he just sitting under the tree the whole time and nobody thought to check on him? Where's Bran? Dany flying in with the dragons, finally seeing the White Walkers and their Legion of the Dead. That was pretty cool. And seeing the dragons just like bursting their fires on the whites and just burning them all to the ground. That was fucking awesome. And then the most pivotal moment of the episode. The Night King sees the dragons. He looks at one of the dragons flying around, makes it really slim and sharp, throws it. One of the dragons dies. I saw it coming, but holy shit, did my mouth drop. He did that with one spear. God damn, he not only has great accuracy, but whoa, that arm. He threw that like thousands of leagues in the air and hit it perfectly. They are not bullshitting with this Night King, man. He is a fucking threat. He needs to be stopped. And I'm glad Daenerys saw the power and might of the White Walkers, so that now she is fully convinced, yeah, these guys are the enemy. We need to take them down immediately. That whole thing when they're on the boat, she's like, I'm with you to the end. You're damn right you're with them to the end. That White Walker just took down one of your dragons with a spear, an ice spear. One shot! He's one spear man. So yeah, and of course we all knew what was coming after he killed the dragon. The whites are pulling the dragon out of the water. And I do have one question. Where do they get those chains? Like, did they just have those chains lying around? Did they make them? Did they steal them? It just was kind of perplexing. They found these chains somewhere that can harness or thrust up a dragon on their shoulders. It was just kind of bizarre. And so, of course, they pull the dragon out of the frozen lake. They're dead. The Night King walks up, touches its face, and the camera slowly pans over to the eyes, and then blue eyes. Fucking crazy. That was a great way to end that episode. And I can't wait to see what a ice dragon is going to be like. That's exciting. Is it going to breathe like ice? A battle between an ice dragon and a regular dragon? Oh, that is gonna be exciting. And not only that, but they finally have the final tool to fly across the wall. They just needed something to help them get across the wall, although I don't understand why when Bran was touched by the Night King, that didn't like bring the wall crumbling down. I thought that was what it was gonna be, but no. Apparently, I'm guessing the Ice King is going to ride, or the Ice King, the Night King is going to ride this dragon over the wall, and then get his legion to follow him over the wall, and then to Winterfell they go. So yeah, overall, I think it's a solid episode. But where I have a problem with this episode were the fact that we had, what, 7 main characters, or 7 prominent characters, go over the wall to go hunt a white so that they can bring it back to King's Landing to show Cersei, hey look, this is a real threat, we gotta go, they're coming, let's do this. By the way, cannot wait for the next episode, it's gonna be tense. They did that, right? 7 prominent characters in the series go over the wall to go get this white, and of the 7, only 1 of them dies? This is Game of Thrones, correct? How did only 1 guy die? And he died from his wounds. But only 1 guy? Thoros of Myr is the only one that dies? Everyone else got away scathe-free? Like, if there was one thing I gave credit to Game of Thrones is that they weren't afraid to kill off major characters. That was one thing I thought that was fantastic about the show, because anybody could die. I mean, shit, when we saw Ned Stark lose his head, when we saw Jory, one of his servants, get friggin' stabbed in the eye by Jaime, dead, that character gone. When Robb and Catelyn were killed at the Red Wedding, when Lysa was thrown out of the Moon Door, you know, these prominent characters, big name characters, die like flies. And I was like, you know what, that is actually kind of ballsy for a show to kill off major characters. To show that everyone is not safe, anybody could die. It doesn't matter how attached you are to them. Sometimes characters are in shitty situations and they die. That's the way that the world works. And I was proud that Game of Thrones was the one show to really buck this trend. But this season, this fucking season, how many prominent characters were literally eyeing death only to survive it with no real major injury to them? The first time was with Bronn, when the dragon was like burning the fields with all the soldiers and stuff, and Bronn is on that big catapult thing, and he launches it, hits the dragon, and it comes tumbling down. Or not tumbling down, but like it's about to land and stuff. But before it does, it decides to burn the catapult, the little pulley thing, the weapon. He decides to burn it. And instead of, I thought Bronn was going to die in this episode. And I thought it would have made a lot of sense if Bronn dies in this episode. Like this is how he goes out of the series, and I would have been fine with that. But no, he jumps off it at the last second and is spared. He should have died. I like Bronn. He's a great character. He's a fantastic character. He's all about himself. I think that's fascinating. But the fact that he lived, I didn't like this. I honestly thought he should have died in that episode. He should have been burnt to a crisp. Jaime sees what has happened and then he flees. But no, he jumps off and survives, and then Jaime charges stupidly at Daenerys as the dragon is about to burn him, and then he gets saved by Bronn. Whatever, okay, fine, you guys survive, that's great. But then you get this episode, and only 1 guy from their group dies. 1 prominent guy. There were a lot of cannon fodder guys that got chewed and bit the dust, and I was like, wait a minute, who are you and what is that? Huh? And fine, you know, I don't have a problem that they had just extras there just to be killed by the White Walkers and to be killed by a zombie polar bear. That's fine, but like more major characters should have died during this reconnaissance mission, this whole taking a white so that they can bring it to King's Landing missions. There should have been at least 2-3 major deaths. It should have been Beric, Thoros, and possibly the Hound or Gendry. Those should have been the people to die from this journey. I'm fine with Jon surviving, because Jon has to survive. He's a major key player in this series. I'm fine with Jorah surviving. I like this character, and I feel like he always gets the short end of the stick. He should make it to the final episodes. I also am okay with Tormund surviving because I want to see a Tormund-Brienne relationship happen. Totally fine with those three surviving, but the others are expendable in my opinion. They could have died. And also I can give a little bit of leeway for the Hound surviving because I think he's going to King's Landing, which means he's going to see his zombie brother, and I mean, I'm not going to say it because we all know what happens if you say it, but let's just say I'm thinking it very loudly. Anyway, with that all said, I'm just upset at how it seems like this Game of Thrones season has totally forgot what the other Game of Thrones seasons are like. The fact that death is imminent, death is soon, no one can escape it. You're always on your toe. There's a sense of suspense because you don't know if a character is going to die. But in this season, it never feels like, I never really feel that same tension that I felt in previous seasons where anything could have happened and any character could die. Here I feel like it's just, oh yeah, they're going to go on this mission, but don't worry. Most of them are going to survive anyway. So there's no really sense of dire urgency. There's no looming threat or the possibility of death because you all know they're going to survive it anyway. And then, I think what pissed me off, and I was really, like, even though I saw all those amazing stuff in this episode, I couldn't get over the fact that, so Jon and his crew are fighting off the Whites, right? And it seems like all is hopeless, and we already know Daenerys is on her way. We already know she's going to show up and save them when things seem to be at an end. Like, there's no hope at all. Daenerys like, talking about dragons, and the dragon lands, and, you know, Jon's about to get up, grab Daenerys' hand, and get on the dragon, but what does he do? He stupidly looks to his left and sees one of the Whites charging. I'm like, okay, whatever, get on the dragon. It's not like he's gonna climb the dragon. The dragon will just fucking rub it off. It's not like that thing's gonna kill the dragon or kill the others. They're all fighting Whites. It's not like they were gonna sneak up on somebody. His decision to not get on the dragon, I personally feel like is one of the dumbest decisions I've ever seen in Game of Thrones. And that is saying a lot, because there isn't many dumb moments in this show. You have the dragon. You're all there. You give her the white, everybody's on, and what does he do? He's just like, go, leave me behind, even though I could kind of just run back right now and get on the dragon. No, you gotta run, guys. Run quickly. And then he gets tackled to the ground or to the ice, and then he falls through the ice into the water, and it seems like he drowned, but we already know he's not gonna die. We need him. So of course they fly away thinking that Jon is gone forever. Gee, haven't seen that one before. And then he comes out of the ice, he's about to get attacked by the Whites again, and then all of a sudden, what comes in the distance? You see fire and somebody twirling something around. It's fucking Cold Hands, who is now his uncle, Benjen Stark. He's like, Uncle Benjen, and then Cold Hands is just like, get on the horse, go to the front, go to the wall, okay, no time to talk, boom, bye-bye, see you later, it's good to see you again, okay, I'm ready to die. And freaking they wasted Cold Hands. And I saw the, inside the episode segment of this, for this episode, and the writers were talking about like, oh yeah, well, Cold Hands, you know, he always wanted to find his purpose, and it seems like he finally found it by first saving Bran, and now he saved Jon. I'm like, fuck you! That's not a valid reason to kill this character off after just the second time we saw him. What, they couldn't ride off into the distance? It seemed like that horse was able to outrun the Whites. Why couldn't you just grab him, throw him on your back, and ride off, and then have this little dialogue exchange where Jon finally gets to meet his Uncle Benjen again. He deeply cared, respected, and loved his Uncle Benjen. He was one of the convincing reasons why Jon joined the freaking Night's Watch to begin with. Uncle Benjen and Jon Snow's relationship deserved more. It deserved more closure. Cold Hands as a character deserved more, and us, the audience, deserved more. That should have been how the episode ended, where Cold Hands saves Jon and they ride off. and then have the whole shot where the wives are pulled. And the reason maybe that the wives don't chase them is because they have to work on getting the dragon out of the frozen lake. That would make sense, and it would give us a chance to see these two kind of reconnect, catch up on old times, and give us some fucking closure. By Benjen showing up, putting Jon on the horse, and chasing him away, and then fighting off the Whites stupidly in a hopeless battle, there's no closure. No closure whatsoever. I mean, you could argue there's a bit of a closure, because now Jon knows what happens to his Uncle Benjen, which is nice, because for like 7 seasons he had no idea if he was alive or dead. So now he knows that he was half alive, half dead, and now he's really dead? Great. Another thing I want to point out is that after this whole debacle happens, he doesn't even seem to mention his Uncle Ben. Like, his Uncle Ben died. What is he, Spider-Man now too? It doesn't even seem like his Uncle Benjen's second death truly affected him at all. And it kind of pisses me off a little bit because, again, his relationship with his Uncle Benjen was a strong relationship. There should have been more closure here. We didn't get it. And that's why this episode equally frustrates me and excites me. A lot of great things happened in this episode, a lot of cool things happened, but a lot of things really frustrated me about this episode. I didn't like the fact that a majority of the people who were part of this expedition survived, and only one of the notable characters really died. And then we got Cold Hands, a really cool character, just shows up as a Deus Ex Machina and then just bites the dust once he gets Jon back. And then Jon ends up going to the wall, seeing Daenerys. They're on the boat heading over to fucking King's Landing. So much good, so much bad. It's like, I don't know how to feel, guys. I really don't, because I did like the episode. It's a lot of fun, a lot of great dialogue scenes. I still like the characters. I don't like this direction that Game of Thrones has taken recently. It's frustrating to me. And I'm sorry I'm rambling. I have to express these thoughts. It's just angering. Yeah, that's really all I have to say. This season feels weaker than all the other seasons that came before it, mainly because it just feels like there's no major threat of death for any of the major characters. Like, I don't feel like any of them are gonna die now. When in previous seasons, major characters will bite the dust when you least expect. Sometimes no one even knows that they died. The show and the series wasn't afraid to kill off main characters. Why are they so afraid to kill them now? I don't get it. I get that we love them, but guess what? We love those other characters for previous seasons. Why didn't they die? Why didn't they survive? Why didn't Robb miraculously get saved by his wolf and then he rode off to the north on his wolf's back? No, he got stabbed in the heart. His wife died. His unborn child died. His mother died. The show wasn't afraid to cross that line. Whatever, okay, I'm done ranting. I'm sorry that you got to see me rant and stuff, but I had to just express this. So thank you for watching. Thanks for listening. Stay tuned. I got some videos heading your way. I hope you enjoy them. Yeah, that's really all I gotta say. Cannot wait for the next episode. Super duper excited. And I also can't wait for Death Note to drop this Friday. Or for me, it's gonna drop Saturday, so excited to see that. So until then, guys, like to see more videos on this channel, be a part of the Black Critic crew, please hit that subscribe button below. Like this video if you really enjoyed it. I'm talking about a second. A little disappointed by the events of Season 7 for Game of Thrones as the Black Critic Guy. Till then, peace, YouTube.
Yeah.